I lived in one house right here on Sheridan Avenue, right down the street, with my mother, her brother, my grandparents, and my great-grandmother. And we were a very, very close family, together 24 hours a day. And I think the best choice my mother ever made, and I'm sure my grandparents are part of that choice, was to send me to Hebrew Academy. I'm grateful because it was the best education a Jewish kid could get, is going to Hebrew Academy. And I was very proud of it, and it grounded me. My favorite class, I think it was when I got to junior high school, was Gemara, was Baba Metzia. And you know, it's funny because when you're a kid, you take math, you're like, well, how are you gonna use this later in life? Or how, you know? But it was, Baba Metzia and Gemara was really something that became useful in my future, in becoming a filmmaker and becoming a storyteller. And that's where it really started. Yes, I had a family full of storytellers, like most Jewish families. You sit around the dinner table and everybody tells stories. But the real stories that you kind of dove into and dissected and understood, and the law and all that was my Gemara class, which Shragi Gross was my teacher, and it was really my favorite class of all time. And looking back and thinking about it, that's really what prepared me for my future, I would say, is not only the great education here at Hebrew Academy, but it was that specific class, because that class was really stories, about great stories. All the classes here were just incredible, because the tradition of learning through stories is really what I love about Judaism, and the customs. I'm very proud to be an alumni of Hebrew Academy.
I take on all the responsibilities.
What I really, truly understand is the importance of a mentor. Teachers are so important to students. I was very blessed, I think, as a young kid, because I was here when Rabbi Alexander S was here. And I think it starts from the top. He had so much love and so much passion for the students, for the school, for the yeshiva, for the teachers here, that it trickled down. It made the teachers better, it made the students enthusiastic about learning. They felt safe, they felt loved, they felt protected. And I remember waking up every day and being so excited to go to school as a kid. And that's a great feeling. It's like waking up and loving your job. When Rabbi Gross moved on, I was kind of rejecting it a little bit. And what I would do is, I wouldn't wear my tzitzis one day, or I let my hair grow really long. And instead of wearing a yarmulke, I'd wear a cowboy hat. And I thought, the rules didn't apply to me. And that's when I got into some run-ins with Rabbi Haber. And Rabbi Hochner, who was one of my teachers, kind of, I think, said to Rabbi Haber, I got this. Let me handle this. And he would, every Shabbat, would make sure that my mother would drop me off at his house. Spend the weekend there with him and his family. I don't know what his big plan was, but I went from being the kid who had the long hair, who refused to cut his hair, to the kid wearing the cowboy hat, to the kid that would misbehave, or I would get in trouble for negia. All of a sudden, I'm wearing payas, started eating kosher. Mom, not gonna eat at McDonald's anymore, even though I love McDonald's. And he really, I felt a lot of support, and my behavior changed. The teachers here, without really knowing it, they really had a huge impact on my life. I always remembered, I always cherished, and I always loved the education that I got here. It gave me the foundation, which allowed me to excel, not only in Beach High, but in New York University when I went there, ultimately in the film school. I left here with a lot of confidence. My parents, my grandparents were not religious. The fact that they sent me here and gave me that education, I'm very grateful to them. So I've always been more religious, than my family. but I give them all the credit because they sent me to the school. To be honored by a school that you spent your youth, and it felt really great. And seeing some familiar faces like Rabbi Hochner still here. Just to be able to give him a hug and look him in the face and see really takes me back and is very moving for me.